There is something profoundly moving about spaces that do not try too hard. Places where architecture steps back, allowing light, material, and atmosphere to speak. This tiny farmhouse community is one of those rare environments. It is not designed to impress through scale, but through feeling. It offers calm, not spectacle. Here, what becomes warmth, light becomes rhythm, and simplicity becomes luxury. It reminds us that architecture is not about how much we build, but how deeply a space can make us feel at peace. As you approach the community, nothing feels abrupt or overwhelming. The homes sit lightly on the land, arranged with care rather than density. Each structure feels like it belongs exactly where it is, aligned with pathways, trees, and open sky. The arrival is quiet and intentional. Gravel paths soften footsteps, and the natural tones of timber blend seamlessly into the surroundings. This is architecture that welcomes without demanding attention, inviting you to slow down before you even step inside. The placement of each tiny farmhouse reveals a deep respect for the landscape. Instead of reshaping the terrain aggressively, the buildings follow its natural logic. This preserves not only the physical environment but also its emotional atmosphere. The spaces between homes allow for breathing room, for light to travel freely, and for nature to remain present. The result is a balance between built form and open space, where neither dominates and both exist in harmony. Wood is the soul of this community. It defines the walls, frames the openings, and carries the story of the place. Its grain, texture, and tone create warmth that no synthetic material can replicate. Wood ages with grace, becoming richer over time rather than deteriorating. It connects the architecture to human touch and natural origin. In these homes, wood is not decoration. It is structure, atmosphere, and identity, shaping the emotional experience of every room. Light is not treated as an afterthought but as a central design element. Windows are carefully positioned to capture morning brightness and soft afternoon glow. The interiors shift throughout the day, never static, always alive. Light washes across wooden surfaces, revealing subtle textures and creating quiet moments of beauty. This constant dialogue between light and material makes the homes feel dynamic, even in stillness. It transforms ordinary moments into meaningful experiences. Despite their modest size, the homes feel open and generous. This is achieved not through square footage, but through proportion and clarity. High ceilings, clean sight lines, and minimal visual clutter create a sense of expansion. Each space flows naturally into the next, avoiding unnecessary barriers. The result is an environment that feels larger than its dimensions suggest, proving that thoughtful design can expand perception without expanding footprint. One of the most striking qualities of the community is what it chooses not to include. There is no excess, no unnecessary ornament. Every element has purpose. This restraint creates calm. Without distraction, the mind settles. The architecture becomes a quiet frame for life rather than its center. This discipline reflects confidence and simplicity, allowing material, light, and proportion to carry the experience without needing embellishment. Inside each home, the spaces feel deeply human. The kitchen, living, and sleeping areas are integrated in a way that supports daily rituals naturally. Nothing feels staged or artificial. The materials invite touch, the light invites presence, and the scale invites comfort. These interiors are not designed to impress visitors, but to support the people who live within them. They prioritize emotional comfort over visual spectacle. The windows serve as bridges between interior and exterior worlds. They frame views of sky, trees, and neighboring homes, reinforcing a sense of connection. Rather than isolating occupants, the architecture encourages awareness of surroundings. This creates a gentle sense of belonging. You are never disconnected from nature or community. The boundaries between inside and outside become soft, allowing the environment to remain present in daily life. Mourning in this community is a quiet ceremony. Light enters gradually, illuminating surfaces and signaling the beginning of the day. The architecture enhances this transition, making waking up feel gentle rather than abrupt. Spaces feel fresh and alive. This daily interaction with natural light creates rhythm and grounding. It reminds residents of time, season, and presence, reinforcing a deeper connection to life's natural cycles. Natural materials create emotional stability. Wood, in particular, carries warmth and familiarity. It absorbs light softly and reflects it gently. This creates a visual calm that supports mental calm. Living within these materials feels reassuring. It reduces stress and enhances comfort. The homes become environments that support well-being, not just shelter. This demonstrates the profound psychological impact of material choices in architecture. The arrangement of homes encourages connection without sacrificing privacy. Neighbors are present but not intrusive. Shared pathways and open spaces create opportunities for interaction, while thoughtful spacing preserves personal retreat. This balance is essential. It allows residents to feel part of something larger while maintaining individual peace. The architecture fosters community naturally, without forcing it. Good architecture often reveals itself through silence. It does not demand explanation. It simply works. In this community, everything feels intuitive. Movement flows naturally. Spaces feel right without needing justification. This quiet clarity is the result of careful design decisions. It creates an environment where life unfolds effortlessly, without friction or confusion. Sustainability here is not expressed through complex technology, but through thoughtful simplicity. Smaller homes use fewer resources. Natural materials reduce environmental impact. Passive light and ventilation reduce energy needs. These decisions create architecture that is both environmentally responsible and emotionally meaningful. Sustainability becomes part of everyday life rather than an added feature. The modest scale of the homes creates a sense of security. Large spaces can feel impersonal, but these homes feel protective and intimate. The proportions align with human experience. Every corner feels reachable. Every space feels manageable. This strengthens the emotional bond between resident and home. The architecture supports comfort rather than overwhelming it. As time passes, the homes evolve. Wood changes tone, light shifts seasonally, and daily life leaves subtle traces. These changes enrich the architecture. The homes become records of lived experience. They do not resist time, but welcome it. This creates a deeper sense of permanence and belonging. In these homes, distractions fall away. The simplicity encourages awareness. You notice light moving across walls. You notice quiet sounds. You notice yourself. This is architecture that supports mindfulness. It creates space not only for living, but for being present. It allows life to slow down and become more meaningful. Each home expresses individuality. It contributes to a unified whole. This balance strengthens the identity of the community. No single building dominates. Together, they create a harmonious environment. This reflects a philosophy where architecture serves both personal and shared experience equally. Luxury here is not defined by size or excess. It is defined by calm, clarity, and connection. It is the luxury of waking up in natural light, the luxury of materials that age beautifully, the luxury of spaces that support emotional well-being. This redefines what it means to live well. It shows that true luxury is not about having more, but about needing less. This tiny farmhouse community offers more than housing. It offers a philosophy. It shows that architecture can create calm through restraint, beauty through honesty, and richness through simplicity. Wood and light become the foundation for a deeper experience of home. In a world that often feels loud and overwhelming, this community stands as a quiet reminder. The most powerful spaces are not the ones that impress us instantly, but the ones that continue to nurture us every single day.